Ah! Shut up! Silence! Silence, plebs! Who said I wasn't gonna speak? We are silent. Engage with chat, chat. Provide content. You're supposed to what? I said provide content for the stream. Do I have to do everything as usual? My god. Chat, you should be embarrassed. All you do is just ask, ask, ask. And what have I given you in return? So much beautiful streams every other day, LMAO. Will you post a couple little pages to your manga on Twitter? Just a few pages, please? I don't like the... I'd rather dump it. You're just provoking them? I can draw and talk at the same time. I just need to not pay attention to you guys and pretend like I'm paying attention. If speedrunners can talk to chat, then I can talk to chat too. Clint said talking to chat while speedrunning Mario is easy because you guys always say the same shit and then you don't actually read chat. You just check every once in a while and then say silly shit without actually engaging with them, but they can't tell the difference because they're stupid. That's what Clint says, and if Clint, nobody knows streaming better than Clint, so... Where are the drills? She only has one drill, actually. She has a drill in the front, and then the hair in the back is just kind of generally curly. That's how it works. Who is Clint? Clint Stevens. He's my hero. Because he never streams. I would recommend him to everyone, but considering he never streams, it would be completely meaningless. Hey Argans, thanks for the sub. I appreciate the support. I just want Elf-chan to stop crying. I got paid today, have some bits. Also, do you do portraits or full pics only? What? I mean, doing a portrait is way easier than doing a full pic. I just think it's not particularly interesting. In fact, even doing full pics nowadays, I feel like as artists in the age of AI, we need to start making sure that the type of shit we're producing is not something that's just can be easily, you know, one girl and blank background immediately reproduced by AI, you know? Luckily, black and white line work based manga is one of the things. When I search for Clint Stevens, it's just some guy playing shooter and whatnot. Yes, except most of the time he's not playing anything because he disappears for 8 months at a time. Which is why he's my hero. Because his subs don't unsub while he's gone. He's reached the true point of financial independence where he's cucked his viewership so bad that they still give him money even when he no longer provides them with any content. It's the ultimate parasocial relationship. I hope to achieve that level someday. AI can't reproduce my shitty art. True. In the artist community, we call this soul. Your art is soulful and the AI art is soulless. It really doesn't seem to be able to do black and white line art, actually. I was looking for anything that resembled, like, black and white manga. Because, like, all the other stuff, it's getting really good at it, but I think that it's something about the way the training works in that the black and white images don't provide enough data. Like, I think because it trains using noise and, like, checking the next pixel, there's not enough noise versus signal in black and white line art for it to produce a pattern recognition, is I think what happens. It's kind of like making your stuff weird so when you get criticized you can say they don't understand. It's like, haha, yes. All of my drawings are images of giant women stepping on men and crushing them because I'm just a weird, quirky guy. Haha, you wouldn't understand. Lack of clear depth perception in manga? Depth perception doesn't have anything to do with it. There's plenty of flat images that don't have depth perception that can be reproduced very easily by AI. So... God, I fucking hate Yukari. I like how Yukari is like... They're like, what if we took the extremely boring basic love option except somehow made her worse. So nobody likes her. That girl is built for prostituting herself for old men and nothing else, for real. At least Fuka appeals to the massive forehead Coomers. Aina will cannibalize itself soon? Maybe. We'll see. I don't really care. I was thinking about AI because there was some drama on the Japanese side of the internet because the Japanese artists who are, you know, lobbying against AI and trying to get various organizations to support some amount of control against it finally got the attention of the manga author of Hajime no Ippo, the boxing manga that has gone on forever. But because he was a gigger boomer, he went into the whole discussion on Twitter completely unprepared, and it was like, huh? What's the problem? Why are you guys against AI anyways? And everyone started to get angry because he was being such a fucking massive giga boomer, which is kind of what you should expect from someone who has been drawing the same boxing comic for more than 100 volumes without actually ending the fucking story. And then he was like, well, if you guys are going to be so pissy, then I guess it's not my problem, bye. And everyone's like, holy shit. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then the pro-AI prompters on Twitter were like, we did it. We've turned another person against the anti-AI into anti-AI people, as if like that was some sort of huge win. I think as an artist, you kind of have to not give a shit and accept not making money. No, I will not accept that. Give me your money now. I absolutely refuse to not make money. Also, the AI prompters haven't accepted that at all. If you're looking for AI porn on Pixiv, the first thing that everybody will do is be like, do you like these 7 images? Well, I have 700 more images on my Patreon. Please subscribe for $2 per month. And if you actually do subscribe and see the Patreon images, they're way worse than the ones they post on Pixiv. Because it actually takes less work for an AI prompter to produce 200 images than for it to produce 20. Because those 20 images are the ones that have been properly looked through. Actually, the lazy AI prompters are the ones that post the 200 ones because they don't go through the editing process of rejecting the ones that have like 8 arms in it. AI hentai is not very good yet. It's solid, I would say. And that's mainly because the people that have recently, they've developed LoRa's that reproduce the artwork of either YD or Enjimaru, the Taiwanese artist who is basically the best porn artist or artist in general right now, and who has amazing rendering and lighting skills and stuff. Or Thick with AQ, or that's about it actually. It's just those two. Nobody else. But that means that I get to jack it to an endless amount of Orenjimaru hentai. Ball can coom to it, so he deems it solid. I'm kind of getting bored of it right now because every single one of the people who produces shit also has a Patreon. So that means they can only produce stuff that Patreon won't get them banned from Patreon. So it's almost entirely big black cocks. Which, ironically, while being one of the most morally questionable forms of porn, considering all the inherent racism it has, does not get caught on the Patreon guidelines on what you can or what you can't have. So 99% of Patreon porn producers are just like Genshin character versus big black cock, and that's it. Because, like, there's no way Patreon can ban BBC content without looking like a racist themselves, even though, like, every single person who knows anything about porn knows that it's, like, one of the most vile... Race play is one of the most vile genres in terms of, like, the type of people and, like, the underlying themes it depicts, but Patreon can't be like, we can't have any more black people in our porn. Right? So there's it's a fail-safe way to continue to have your shit. It's concerning how nothing will ever be enough to jack off till the end of times. Once you start getting satisfied with one level of quality, then you want better quality. And then when you have the highest quality images in terms of, like, artistic skill, then you want shit that starts to appeal to directly to your very hyper-specific fetishes. And the pursuit of better coup material, it never stops. Higher, stronger, faster. Like the same as the human pursuit for excellence. We must keep on cooming harder and harder. Oh, 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 oh. Best way to dodge the rabbit hole is to speedrun it and call it a day. You could also just not masturbate for once. I know this is a hard concept. Personally, my cock is so desensitized. Both my cock and my brain are so desensitized to porn 24/7 that I only come immediately every once in a while. Also, I mean, looking at images is kind of my job to begin with, so it's kind of hard to be like, I'm not going to look at images for 3 hours to be fair. Like, Born to Coom, world is an own a hole, I'm fat man 10,000 times fat. Yeah, that's what I'm going to have tattooed onto my arm and put on my Vietnam War helmet. That is literal 4chan poll talking points. What is? It's the Jews that want to make white genocide. That's why BBC AI porn is popular. Yes. Definitely. The reason why you're not having sex with a real human woman is because the Jews are stopping you. If only the Jews would stop you forcing you to jack off to BBC porn. Unfortunately, we are powerless when faced with the violence of such massive black cocks presented in front of our face on our computer to demotivate us. Soul. Gotta let it out, gotta let it out. Oh! Does anybody know if Eurobeat Deja Vu shit gets detected by the Twitch anti-music piracy shit and gets cancelled in the VODs? For people who watch the VODs, can you notify me which music is muted or not? No? Yeah. It doesn't? Good. Boo! It's time to go fast. Oh! I've seen this before. That'd be hard to do. Well, I guess it's hard to be like, I can't tell what song is being banned, but I know there's people who watch both the stream and probably check out the VODs as well, so... How many more manga pages do you have left? Like, we're getting close to the halfway point, I guess. I don't know. Are we really having to explain to people why the way the Jewish banking conspiracy shit goes? I thought everybody knew that stuff. It's because they have extensive relationships with the underground lizard men and the aliens, who are the people who assassinated our hero, Epstein, when he tried to expose the truth about the deep state. Don't worry, guys. Q will post the next update soon. Stay strong. Oh, brain. The Jews and aliens do the occasional dreidel dance ritual and call it a day. That's why you don't see the aliens. Yeah, the dreidel ritual is used to hide the mystery circles when they abduct the cattle. It's been a while since I've heard of QAnon. I'm sure they're still around. You're just not on Trump's social like you need to be. The whole concept that this is all part of Trump's plan. He's gonna come in and stop the deep state anytime now is sort of hard to believe in, even if you're a dumbass conspiracy theorist when he's been out of the White House for the last, 4 years. Like, even if you're still pro-Trump, it's kind of hard to believe that he's gonna purge all the secret pedophiles from Congress and bring in a new age of white men not being afraid of big black cocks or whatever they want. I didn't know we were doing Jewspiracies right now. Yeah, well, I started talking about big black cocks, so it's a natural connection as a normal white man. Every day you have to fight against white genocide forced on you by your urge to look at endless amounts of race-bait porn. That doesn't apply to me, I guess. The good thing about big black cock porn being the primary form of porn in Patreon, AI artist Patreon content, is that I can self-insert as a big black cock owner easily It doesn't get in the way of my self-insertion at all. I'm like, that's me. I have a giant big black cock. Same thing the way I self-insert as an orc. Having surprise sex with my waifu, Asagi, for the 10 millionth time. But if this is instead futa cocks, for example, females with cock and balls, suddenly the entire setup becomes much more difficult for me. So I very much appreciate it being big black cock content. Aren't Asian considered white adjacent or some shit? Only the woman. I like how we're getting into, what's his name? Elliot Rogers zone right now. Yes, females are desirable sex symbols and considered to be acceptable within Western society, but men are considered to be disgusting subhumans. That's how the Asian race works. I don't know, I'm just shitposting. The Asian racism hive goes deep into American society because it's generally ignored. That's just stupid journalists. It's also stuff like college admissions and stuff. They're like, oh, you Asian Americans, you've studied super hard, which is why we must not let you into Harvard. Females of other races are fine, not the men though. It really just comes to feeling sexually threatened, which is why people jack off to big black cock content so much. What do Asian people consider people from India? I mean, Asian people itself is a huge... it's too large of a group for me to answer that question, right? I understand what you're trying to ask, but... For example, Japanese people don't really consider themselves Asian in that they will use the word Asia, in Japanese, but what they mean is countries other than Japan. And what they usually mean is Southeast Asia. Because in their mind, they're sort of like developed country white people. They're only accepted when pitted against blacks, but in parts when there's mostly Asian people, there's prejudice against Asians. Asians are called the model minority in that they are low maintenance and can be kept in their subservient position better by the white race. And that mentality is done almost unconsciously. To give you perspective, which always blew my mind, Stephen Colbert was allowed to do the chink, I guess I'm not even allowed to say that, Chinese slant eyes racist joke, where you take your fingers and pull your eyelids on national TV for I think all the way until like 2015 or so. I think he stopped by now, but if you compare that to stuff like blackface and shit, he had an extremely long run with that, and basically no one stopped him, which shows you the level of which anti-Asian racism is basically like, okay. Nobody really likes China, Chinese people in general. I mean, even Chinese people don't like China. That's why they're trying to escape it right now. Don't even get started on what the Taiwanese think about China, LMAO. I wasn't particularly offended by Stephen Colbert's Chinese jokes, but I just thought it was extremely interesting that he was allowed to get away with it. Because he was doing it on national TV. I don't know if he got it. He was still doing it when he moved to network TV, but he was definitely doing it to the late stages of the Colbert show. So Chinese hating other Chinese is nothing new. The number one thing that the Chinese party is afraid of is internal revolt. So most of Chinese history is about Chinese people killing other Chinese people. Can you tell apart a Chinese from a Korean or Japanese? The average American can't, unless they are racist, in which case they do care about such differences and know how to tell them apart, which is weird. You usually can't. People who claim they can generally are lying. Racially, it's usually said that Koreans have much more of these this type of square cheeks right here, and then Japanese have a generally rounder U shape. So Koreans get the Giga Chad jaw, which is good if you want to be a Giga Chad, but if you're a female and you get this, then you have to go to your plastic surgery and get the scraping done, so you get this hyper triangular jaw instead. But I can generally tell Korean, Japanese, and Chinese apart, not because of any kind of facial structure, but because of what type of fashion they're wearing. It's been a while since I've been in Japan and looked this stuff up, but generally you can tell because they have different hairstyles and different fashion and different makeup, so. But now that Japanese fashion imitates Korean fashion trends much more often, it's much more difficult, I would say. Koreans in my head either look like Bobby Lee or an idol. Well, considering all the idols have the same face because they all go to the same plastic surgeon, if you can recognize one Korean idol. Fire! You can basically recognize them all, right? Mongolians and Himalayans are the only continental Asians that I can tell apart. As someone who watches a lot of sumo that has a ton of Mongolians, it's really hard to tell them apart with Japanese at this point. And that's partially because I think they're all super fat, so whatever facial structure differences they have kind of get negated because the face fat takes over when you're a sumo wrestler. Also, there's inner continental Russians that are much more similar to Mongolians than what would you think about like white Slav Russians, and you can't really tell them apart from Mongolians either. I can tell apart basically no people. My eyes are too bad. Possibly autism, by the way. Lack of facial recognition is a feature of the autism spectrum. I can only tell apart my people if they're 2D anime characters that have multicolored different hairstyles and no facial differences, but they all have, one has pink hair, the other has green hair. Sight issue. Just have lasers blast your eyeballs. Surely nothing will go bad. In anime, they always draw other Asians super Asian, LOL. No, they don't. They, if a Chinese character shows up in anime, they don't draw them Asian. What they do is they put them in a China dress and then have them say something something aru at the end of how they speak, and then also be a kung fu master. It's the Western cartoons that always draw Asians like in a super specific way. Apparently Westerns want all Asians to look like Lucy Liu. So if you look at like American comics like DC and Marvel, whenever Wolverine is going to Japan or something, everybody looks like fucking Lucy Liu. Actually, so if you're looking at a comic, it's like this. They all have the Wolverine in Japan. Huge bony cheeks. Super slit eyes. But they still have the thick ass lips. And then make sure to give them like a vague brown color because they're not white. So you put them in a different color. I don't know, it's like this. It's more orangey. Let's say like this. This is usually the Western comic color. And then the number one indicator that you're in Asia, in Japan, whatever, and it's being drawn by a Westerner is this. Katana. Notice what I'm saying? Perfectly fucking straight katana. This is the number one indicator that you're in Japan drawn by Westerner. For some reason, Western artists, I don't know if it's still this bad, but throughout my lifestyle, grew up with the inability to properly draw curved katana. Like, what the fuck? They do this every single fucking time. I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles still do this. Yeah. Here's my ninja sword, guys. Look at this fucking ninja sword. It's fucking ridiculous, man. Depends on the artist. It doesn't depend on the artist. It's so consistent. There might be one or two artists that properly draw the curvature, but it is so consistent. There's just something about the extra work it takes for them to draw a curved sword that they just absolutely don't want to do. We need more sword artists. They just don't understand the power of the katana. Deadpool's katanas are also straight. Yep, I'm telling you, man. It's really consistent. They do that shit almost always. I don't know what makes them feel so strongly that drawing katana curvature is a waste of their time, considering they waste a shit ton of time drawing extremely detailed, stupid backgrounds and stuff, but... Samurai Jack's sword is curved. Slightly more modern. It's not like Samurai Jack's sword is accurately represented katana, but obviously everything is stylized. Samurai Jack's sword is kind of like this, though. It's not the proper shape. This is the full katana shape. And Samurai Jack is more like this. Anyways, drawing accurate katana is a huge amount of work, especially if it's animation, so I don't really blame them. Manga and cartoons, I'm much more critical. My favorite weapon is pick hammer. My favorite weapon is gun. Keikona clap. Am I right, fellow Americans? I call up upon the power of gun. Colt 1911. Who would win, a samurai or 13 cowboys with a Colt gun? Who would win? 13 horny samurai driving up to Ram Ranch. Excuse me, actually I have to check the actual numbers. Ram Ranch lyrics. Who would win? 18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big, hard, throbbing cocks wanting to be sucked. 18 naked cowboys wanting to be fucked. Cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch, on their knees wanting to suck cowboy cocks. Ram Ranch really rocks. It's when I see lyrics like this when I realize that AI will never reach the pinnacle of human expression. If you ask AI to write a poem about 18 naked cowboys in the showers, there's no way it would be able to write something that touches the soul like this. It would probably write something much more eloquent, but it won't be Ram Ranch. 18 naked cowboys is the actual number. I'm glad Hystrixia has those numbers at the top of her head, just in case we make any kind of factual mistakes about the proper number of naked cowboys at Ram Ranch. That would be extremely embarrassing. We wouldn't want anyone to get the wrong information from this stream about Ram Ranch canon. Although it will be easier to follow now that the guy's in fucking prison. He won't be able to update the lore anytime soon. I gotta go, it's 4 a.m. Nothing like some Ram Ranch talk at 4 a.m. See? Yeah. Ready. For you. Ass, ass, ass! Ass, ass. The ninja toe is basically a straight katana. Historically, there is no physical evidence for the existence of this katana-like short sword legendarily used by ninja before the 20th century. Because of the lack of any physical evidence or antique swords from the Sengoku era to the Edo matching the description of the Ninjato, the history of the weapon can only be reliably chronicled from the 20th century onwards. 1956. The thing is, katana are bent for a reason, just functionally. I can't explain the physics of it, but when you have slashing swords, you want them to have a curvature in it to maximize surface area or something. Chokuto were real, however, yes, but they were extremely old. They're like Bronze Age Japan. Because they're easier to make, but they're functionally less effective at cutting people. Citations, Naruto. I think Naruto swords are properly curved, by the way. I can't remember. They don't use much weapons in Naruto. Most people who are relying on shit like swords and stuff instead of their infinite eyeball techniques are probably jobbing within one panel, like Tenten, R.I.P. The one ninja who's like, my specialty is physical weapons. She just fucking loses within 1 second, so... In the Naruto world, if you're not pulling out your giga bullshit god powers, then you're in a bad place. Naruto is full of jobbers. Naruto's standard plot. She's going to use that. What? BaalBud ninjutsu. Now you will see why he's considered to be the greatest genius of his generation. Nandate? You're saying he's an even greater genius than the other genius that appeared in the previous chapter, right before this chapter? They're like, yes. There's no way Naruto can win against that level of geniusness. He's too much of a genius. Naruto wins. My god. I can't believe he defeated that genius. He must also be a genius himself. Neji LOL, yes. Nah, I'd win. Is nah, I'd win proper use of that meme to laugh at anime characters who are going to fucking job? Because I watched the first episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, and then I was like, I wonder what the manga is doing. And it was right when the nah, I'd win guy was fucking getting cut in half off screen, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna read this this manga. This shit is silly. I was like, what? I thought this guy was supposed to be the strongest. I joined and left the Jujutsu Kaisen bandwagon at exactly the right time, watching the first episode so I had enough info, and then watching the latest episode where Fujoshi bait guy gets fucking killed. Also, for people who actually read Jujutsu Kaisen, isn't most of the combat like people fucking dying off screen, and then like the author comes back and explains how the person died? Because that's what happened with what's his name, white-haired guy, Fujoshi Bake guy, when I checked in on the one episode, the climactic episode. It was like, I checked in, he was like, was cut in half. I was like, oh, this must be the end of a huge battle. And it was like, no. They were going up to the point where he's like, the previous episode, it was like, he's going to win. And then he gets fucking killed off screen. And then, main character guy is like, yes, I was analyzing your special infinity technique, which was what allowed me to cut you in half. It's just mental gymnastics to explain powers. Despite all the memeing about Hunter x Hunter, the one good thing that Togashi should get credit for is actually going into in-depth bullshit about how stuff like Nen works and having some amount of consistency in the rules about how shit works, instead of just being like Araki and being like, LMAO, Killer Queen God Requiem just activated. Nobody can stop him now. Actually, LMAO. Gold Experience has just gotten powered up. The creator of Jujutsu Kaisen confessed several times that they got the math physics wrong on the powers cell. I'm much more interested in whether the Jujutsu Kaisen author is a male or a female. Because, like, if it is a male, it's probably the most effeminate female-coded male author of all time. When literally every single male character is designed to appeal to Fujoshi in a highly specific manner. Honestly, he could be wearing a straight-up dress and force people to refer to him with female pronouns, and he wouldn't be more effeminate than the shit that he pulls in his own manga. They know their target audience, if anything. That's the only thing that Jujutsu Kaisen is good for, by the way. Selling comics to the target audience. Also, sloppy yet dynamic line work, I guess. Come and go. If I remember correctly, Tatsuki Fujimoto pretended to be his fake little sister. There's definitely something going on with him. He's just a weirdo. Ignore him. He'll go away eventually. Also, everyone's pointing out on Japanese internet that Chainsaw Man's art got like 30% worse when the one of his assistants, who is famous for having insane high-level drawing ability but no ability to write interesting manga, quit and started his own series. So that's pretty funny. It just really shows you how hard a lot of manga creators are just being carried by their assistants. Not that it really matters that much. You guys only care about Dami, Mommy, Makima content, so... Drills don't do it for me. Drills are generally a joke hairstyle, which is why Mitsuru only has one, so she doesn't go full Ojo-sama. It's very hard to ejaculate to drill Ojo-sama porn. I'm sure there's someone in chat who's gonna be like, oh yeah, I have a 7,000 gig folder of drill Ojo-sama porn, but it's generally a joke hairstyle for a reason. This is why when you see porn of Jessie from Pokemon, for example. A lot of times they'll have her with her hair down for that like one episode with her hair down. Because nobody can jack off to that silly ass hairstyle. Don't you want to fuck the drills? What would happen if I removed your drills? Would you die? It would be extremely painful. Her hair looks like a lethal weapon. It is against my cock. What hair is most difficult to draw? The one where you have the scalp and I have to draw where it's properly attached. I guess I'm not that bad at it. Like this. This is kind of a pain in the ass to draw. Although I'm not doing that bad at it, so I guess I can draw all types of hair. If you can't draw hair, you can't be an anime-style artist, because it's like 90% of how the character differentiation works. People who are come to me and is like, I can't draw anime hair, I'm just like, quit. You're not built for this profession. Quit while you're still ahead, kid. Can't draw hair, you can't draw shit around here. Incredible that Fujimoto not only ate his girlfriend's pet fish but had a girlfriend in the first place. I just don't think he's built for that lifestyle of having normal human relations simply just based on what I know from his manga, which I haven't even read. Everything about Fujimoto suggests that he's an insufferable film nerd that would make even the worst Brooklyn hipsters blush. The burden of Kino, yes. Don't worry, being a successful mangaka gives you giga money. So just like Oda, eventually he'll be able to find a Dami-Mami film nerd like Makima that will both indulge his desire to watch indie cinema and also tie him up on a leash and like step on his cock or whatever he needs them to do. If Oda can marry the literal model who's playing Nami, then Fujimoto will be able to find a Dami-Mami girlfriend. Don't worry. Their lies. And I'm at the top. Whenever I have doubts about my art and my artists, I believe all the people who doubted me and told me to stop drawing. And I keep on going despite them. Just kidding. Nobody ever said that to me. If anything, people are like way too supportive of artists, even when they clearly suck. If like you can just draw like a doodle, people are like, they're like, wow, you're so good. Look at that OC you drew. Especially if you draw in front of them, they'll be like, holy fuck, you're so good. Wow, your art is so good. Yeah. Even when I was like 17 and taking my art to my manga to literally a professional editor at Shonen Jump. Not 17, I was like 20 or something, I can't remember. They were like, yeah, your art is pretty good. I was like, what the fuck? In retrospect, I was just like, damn, how low are your standards, dude? But Jump is famous for letting people with really shitty art get actual series and stuff, because they know that so much more is important than like art quality. So even if you can draw just like at a pretty basic level, they'll still be like, yeah, you're pretty good. The average person is very lazy and wouldn't spend a fucking hour trying to create something, especially the unironic consumers. I mean, the consumers nowadays can't even spend an hour just like sitting still and watching something. They have to be watching like 8 things on their phone at the same time. They can't even consume, much less create something. It's pretty crazy. As much as we make fun of the AI prompters, they still have more of an attention span than the consumer coomers. Family Guy, Fortnite, Twitch stream while they eat dinner. What's the thing where the people are like scraping a piece of soap with a shaver? Scraping soap? What's it called? Oh, here we go. Relaxing soap carving ASMR. This thing. Yes, do it, girl! Cut the fucking soap! Oh, I'm gonna soap carve! Yes! What the fuck? Who figured this shit out? Satisfying soap cutting videos #1. I'm guessing it's like a series of 1800. What are they actually doing? They have a giant block of soap and they're carving it. Oda is way different. He's a workaholic. He only took 1 break in like 10 years. He's taking breaks more regularly now, but he's also like literally about to die from gout. No, don't do it! No! Ah, not the soap! Oh! All the pieces of soap are coming off! I'm gonna coom! Oh! Oh no! She's scraping the soap! This is the evolution of bubble wrap popping? It really is, isn't it? Who gets gout these days? People who don't exercise enough. Oda has high blood pressure and gout. Waste of soap? I mean, you can still use it after this, right? Maybe not this part, but... You know, shaved soap, you can probably still use it once you get it wet. It's a cock. Or a lollipop. What the fuck? What kind of soap is that? If I had this thing around my kid, I'd be extremely worried he's gonna start fucking eating it. There's no way this isn't a popsicle. Gout is about sodium intake and exercise. The guy is basically attached to the fucking desk. Please understand. Meow. There's lava. A lot of people blame the job for blood clot deaths, but at least half of the world was sitting on its ass doing nothing for a year, consuming media while eating food. Humans did not evolve to sit down for 8-12 hours every day. I always get up and run around and shit. Look, not every mangaka can be like Araki, who can sustain himself immortality-wise on the blood of humans, because he's a fucking vampire. Gamers and artists are some of the most at risk. Just don't get so deep in your work that you don't stand up for like 8 hours or whatever. I regularly get up and do squats and stuff. Oh. He looks slightly older. Yeah, he's trying to fake his death. He's getting ready to fake his death. You always hear of those Chinese MOBA players that sit at a computer for 40 hours and die of blood clots. It's always cool when they're like, and nobody noticed. He was dead for 30 hours and everybody ignored it because they were also playing MOBAs. I eat terribly and sit around a lot. I'm just normal levels of unhealthy. I run 5 miles a day and then also do elliptical machine and some weight training at Planet Fitness on my way back from the run. And then when I step up from my desk, I make sure to do a bunch of squats and push-ups. I eat healthy and don't overeat. I don't smoke and drink. And I feel great! Who would have thought? Turns out if you don't do any of the stuff that's bad for you that causes people to have bad lifespans, you feel way more healthy. Keep a treadmill on my desk when I don't feel like dodging cars. I've complained about this before, but there's like one dog where a guy is walking the dog, and it is fucking psycho. It's a husky, and it will like start snarling and growling and pulling at its leash when I'm as much as like 50 feet away on the other side of the street. The other day, I actually got in a space where I was within like 10 feet of it or something, because we were on the same path, and like the owner had to fucking restrain the dog by holding it between his legs and be like, "What's wrong, boy? What's wrong?" And I was just like, I had my fucking pocket knife out, ready for it to charge me. I was getting ready for it to stab its eyes and throat, Resident Evil 4 style, if it actually lunged on me. It's crazy what shit people allow. "99% of people who have huskies do not have the time commitment to actually care for huskies." It would be better if it was like an actual fucking wolf, honestly. It's like, just have a wolf at this point. Like, what is wrong with you? Ball carries a shill. I do have a pocket knife on my keychain. I have a bottle opener that I can also use for stabbing, and then I have a pocket knife that's contained within like a key type shape, which I can snap open and use for stabbing dogs and stuff, or rapists. Speaking of hemorrhoids, we should do a GoFundMe to remove balls. My hemorrhoids have been pretty stable recently, so I don't really think it's a problem. Is that legal? If I get attacked by a dog, I don't give a fuck if it's legal or not. Or do you mean the knife? It's shorter than 3 inches, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. And that 3-inch shit is for airplanes and stuff. If people are allowed to carry guns, why the fuck wouldn't I be allowed to carry a fucking knife? Yogurt grind? Yeah, I've been eating more yogurt recently. I don't know. I feel like hemorrhoid flare-ups beget more hemorrhoid flare-ups. It's like an endless cycle, so once you break the cycle, Dragon's Dogma style, you're free from it for a while. Did anyone hear about Boomer stabbing a Zoomer in Apple River this week? It's pretty crazy how most of our violence that you hear about on the news is like Boomers killing young people in one way or the other, usually running them over with their cars. But Boomers are not just satisfied with sucking up all the resources of everything for the next generations. They're also like just actively killing young people. Especially in Japan, where like every 2 days there's some giga boomer who drives their car over approximately 12 elementary school kids or something. Intergenerational conflict. It's more one-sided. It's just boomers just refusing to give up their licenses and then killing young people. And never had hemorrhoids. I mean, I don't think it has much to do with age, although I guess it has something to do with age. We all have hemorrhoids. It's just a question of whether they're flaring up or not. This leg is too long. Still too long. How would one even know if you had them? I mean, a bunch of blood comes out of your asshole. Unless you're a statistical anomaly and you'll never get them. They're not a big deal, don't worry about them. Any woman who has boots, I generally try and draw the boots in the picture. Faster! Running down the 90s. Suffering is the only choice. Always has been. Also, depending on your hemorrhoid, the location of your hemorrhoid, sometimes it doesn't have pain receptors like mine. I don't have pain receptors in my hemorrhoids. So then it's really not a big deal. It just means you're squirting blood out of your asshole. But it doesn't feel bad or anything, so just like whatever. Not a big deal. Is your baby? Who here relates to running in the 90s? Every Initial D song, I relate to it. As I shift my hybrid car into high speed and blaze along the highway at a blistering 30 miles per hour. Cops trying to stop me because I'm going too slow. Fuck yeah. I've lived through the 90s. Me too. It was pretty awesome. Shit was better, unironically. Dun, 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 dun. I know because I had hemorrhoid surgery, you'll get a huge injection into your spine and hear the sound of a sharp saw blade slicing through your flesh. Okay, well, you're not convincing me that I need to get hemorrhoid surgery then. My hemorrhoid is fine. Just eat yogurt, guys. One is... in the 90s. Does this have Space Boy in it? I want to listen to Space Boy. Space Boy is my favorite of the Initial D tracks. Forever Young, Symbol. I like how it starts out with the guitar. And space boy. Would you rather get the surgery or have to eat oatmeal to have a healthy hemorrhoid? Well, I don't have to eat oatmeal. If anything, it makes me short left and right, so eating oatmeal is a negative, so that's not actually a realistic scenario I have to deal with. I only need to eat yogurt, which is not a big deal. It's cheap and abundant, and it has multiple health benefits, so... Baby. We should all eat more yogurt, guys. Yogurt is a miraculous food. It's also good because when you're drawing hentai of girls getting covered in semen, you can post it on Twitter and then just draw a picture of a yogurt cartridge next to them. And they're like, oh my god, they're getting doused in delicious yogurt. LMAO. It's both silly and still hot. Kind of like in Chinese video game censorship, where instead of shit ton of blood, characters explode into white cum. So it seems like they've gotten bukkake by thousands of enemies. Pretty funny. But I'm lactose intolerant. You will be left behind by the next generation. Your weak genes have no place in our future utopia, where we will all be able to digest lactose. I never got that white blood shit. I know, right? It makes it look way worse than blood. It's just like, I'm dying. It's like, nope, now you're not dead. You're just in a JAV where there's a huge line of guys wearing whitey tighties that are gonna come on your face. No, Jill! Jill's covered in JAV semen. I hope we see some Yu-Gi-Oh! Love from you. I've been asked to draw Dark Magician Girl, but honestly I have to work on my manga non-stop. At least Danganronpa made the pink blood look stylish. I don't really get Danganronpa. I don't understand why people simp for it so hard. I haven't played the games, nor do I really want to. People are like, oh my god, Danganronpa girls, they're so hot. Also, they're all fucking dead because of some weird school, some shit. I never understand, like, Japanese school survival type stuff, where it's like, this horrifying thing is happening, but it's all in our anime school setup. Why does everything always have to be an anime school setup at all times? Can we just not be in an anime school for once? I know that might sound disingenuous considering I'm fucking drawing Persona, but what is the gayest stuff you are willing to admit? I check out guys' asses at the gym, which isn't particularly that gay because a lot of guys do that. I watch a ton of gay stuff and read a bunch of gay stuff, bada stuff, but I never get a boner. So every time I dive into the gay hive, it just reconfirms how incredibly heterosexual I am. I'm much more heterosexual than the average bi-coded male out there nowadays. Sure. I mean, what do I have to do to convince you how heterosexual I am? Do I have to jack off to anime porn of female girls right now? That wouldn't be gay, by the way. That's just me proving how heterosexual I am. Haha. I trust you. That's right, guys. Proving that your favorite streamer is gay or not gay is the most important thing you should be worrying about in the world right now. Pretty much. In some ways, I feel like the internet has gotten sillier. I can't remember what, but there was something in the Japanese internet where people were like actually having some kind of political argument or some shit. I was like, huh, it's kind of been a while since I've seen people getting angry over some political shit on the Japanese internet, at least trying to like do something about it. I feel like in 2010 people were way more like on the internet as a whole, people were just way more, how do I put it, honest about stuff. Nowadays, it feels like the entirety of the internet is like useless streamer drama and also just like people ironically baiting each other. Basically, the internet seems the same as how 4chan has become, is that nobody is really having an honest discussion about how they feel about shit. They're just trying to rage bait other people or try to sell their shitty, I don't know, drop shipping class or some shit like that. Decline in sincerity. It really does feel like there's been a decline in sincerity. No one is earnest too much cynicism. Yes. Every comment on Twitter is layered in several layers of deception and bullshit. Can you start some drama with Sarue? How about this? I don't know who that is. Whenever someone's like, I like you but not as much as my favorite internet artist, I'm like, who? It turned corporate? It really did. I think that is the number one problem. Everything is owned by the corporations now, sadly. There's very little room for normal human opinion. Start an art contest and ban people you don't like. Yes, and also claim to offer huge cash prizes or some shit to make it even more controversial. I'll give someone a free PS5. I'll make that claim. How about that? How do you feel about chibis? They're a necessary evil in some cases when you have to, you don't have enough page space, but they're fujoshi coded, or just female coded in general. I guess you don't have to be fujoshi. They're not particularly gay, but yeah, people who overuse chibis are probably girls. It also allows people who can't draw actual bodies, full-size bodies, to like cheat on it, which is always bad if you're an artist. If you can't draw something and you have some way out to not draw it, then you're probably not going to get better. Like me and backgrounds, for example. Drawing my comic and I have to remember how to fucking draw a background. When are you doing another tier stream? I don't know. Cheating bad? I mean, it's not bad if you only care about the now. If you care about getting better long term, then you sort of have to force yourself to draw shit. I mean, there's all these people who call themselves artists and they actually can't draw faces from more than one angle. They can't draw a face looking left or a face looking right or something like that, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. The curse of the 3/4 view. I mean, it's like what I'm drawing right now. What is your most expensive item? My car. Hitler would have been a good manga background artist. No, he wouldn't. He wasn't good at drawing backgrounds either. Anybody who's giving Hitler credit for his art is just saying that because either they don't understand art, they're trying to be controversial, or they're just being too forgiving for his art. Killing millions and millions of Jews, that I can forgive, but those that incorrect perspective in that postcard he drew, that is the true sin of Hitler. His proportions terrible. He only drew shitty backgrounds with horrible color that had like The lines weren't even fucking straight. Hitler art. There's a reason why he was a fucking dropout, because he was bad. Here's one. The general colors are unpleasant. This is one that's drawn from straightforward, but this is a pretty obvious one where if you're used to looking at shit, look at how the lines work. This line, and this line, they don't go to the same perspective. Or maybe they do, but no, they definitely don't. Whatever's going on, just the basic anatomy of how the picture is set up is absolute dog shit. And that's just the construction of stuff before getting into like some of these color choices. Everything about it looks like shit. The composition looks like shit. Like, look at this fountain and like how he draws the entrance. Like, you can't even tell where the fountain is. Just like the positioning of all the elements of the drawing look like shit. Everything looks like garbage. It's just fucking awful on so many aspects. He just was not talented. I'm glad that he was able to find something that he was more passionate about in life. There's a bit of uncanniness, like it's on a hill even though it's supposed to be a flat terrain. If we really wanted to go into why this is a bad picture, we could do like a red line or something, but we don't even need to use that time. It's just not good. And this is, you know, using reference and stuff. Obviously it's easier than if, besides like the core problems with the image in terms of like construction and stuff, everything just has no appeal. Like, everything is so flat, the colors are so flat. There's no elements in this drawing that make you want to like visit this location or elicit any kind of emotional response. It's very dull and ugly. And again, some of the perspective seems to be off. Not that it really matters. I thought it was an AI drawing, but it's a celebrity, yeah. If PewDiePie was drawing this, people are like, artists are destroyed. PewDiePie destroys artists by learning how to paint in a matter of months. But because it's not PewDiePie and Hitler, people are like, yeah, it's not very good. Maybe he could have become decent with training. He had other things to worry about, like saving the white race. You really sound like a fastidious art critic. Love it. I mean, you don't really need to be an art critic to say that Hitler's drawings weren't particularly good. Killing people is bad. Okay. This is the stream where we shock Twitch with our extremely brave and stunning opinion that the Holocaust was bad. Genocide is not okay, guys. I know a lot of people will be angry at me for saying this extremely controversial opinion, but don't commit genocide, okay? Unfollowing. I just have to speak the truth on this one, guys. Hitler ultimately failed as an artist because he couldn't draw sexy anime girls. He was too preoccupied with 3D women like Eva Braun. Which is always a failure as an artist. If you're not going all in on your 2D imaginary girls, then you're doomed to be a failure. You need to be above average good before being worth training. Even if Hitler got in, he would have gotten chewed off by his teachers for obvious errors, and probably his art would have ended up being obscured by postmodern movements and the art market. Yes. Also, World War II would have happened whether Hitler appeared or not, because it was just as much a function of the economic colonialism of the time as it was for Hitler personally invading Poland and stuff like that. It's not like he was the only fascist out there, right? So he gets a little too much credit for like the total wars and stuff that happened. It's not like if Hitler was never born. It's always like if you go back in time and what would you do? Would you go and kill Hitler with your time machine or whatever? But even if Hitler was dead, it's not like Germans were a huge fan of Jews. There were all sorts of like genocidal shit going on in other countries besides Germany as well. So he might be the poster child for that shit, but he's not even the high score owner compared to the communist states with like Stalin and Mao. Stalin enters the chat. The GOAT! It's unclear whether we should give Mao the high score or not, because a lot of those deaths, or most of those deaths really, were caused by starvation and shitty failed agricultural policies, not him personally killing every single one of them. Whereas Stalin personally was sending his own people to Siberia to be tortured to death. So Stalin just casually purging billions. Hitler killed fewer people but in a shorter period of time. Hitler gets credit for diverting so many resources to the Holocaust that it was actually hurting Germany's war effort and shit, because they had to like spend all their money on fucking trains to, instead of carrying bullets to the Western Front or whatever, they were like, no, we need to use that train to carry Jewish people to the concentration camps. Great strategy there, Germany. Also, they were wasting money on shit like making huge movies and stuff in the middle of the war. Mustache Man was speedrunning and ended up rage quitting. By the way, the Japanese internet discovered person saying bullshit on Twitter, and there was a guy who was claiming that Americans shouldn't feel bad about dropping atomic bombs on Japan, and he was listing all the bad things that Japanese did, and he straight up was claiming that Japanese killed more people than the Nazis. They killed 30 million people during World War II. And I was just like, holy shit. You talk about the people angry about the 6 million number because they think it's like some sort of Jewish conspiracy or some shit. How the fuck do we get to 30 million? I know it's just like, you know, Twitter bullshit, but it also had 80,000 likes. It was pretty fucking funny. These numbers are just out of control. Communism failed to correct the historical tendencies that characterized the power relationships that Moscow had over their own population. Lenin tried to correct it but died, and Stalin perpetuated it and used the facade of communism to hide all that shit, plus gulags. Stalin was just, you know, making sure that he never got out of power, and it worked. If the Japanese could have just reduced the people they killed for fun by 70%. I mean, they were just a standard fascist country, I would say. Honestly, Japan is like C tier by fascism standards. D tier would of course be Italy. Probably Spain would be like B- or B+, considering that Franco was able to stay in power. America is like a solid B in terms of fascism, and you're like, no, America isn't fascist. It's like, yeah. It just sort of depends how we apply the definition. Muso-chan. Italy, there's a reason why we had Hetalia world powers. People just being like, moe moe, Italy's so cute. Aw, look at Italy trying to invade Ethiopia and fucking failing. That's so cute, moe moe. Mussolini had that Giga Chad jaw. I'm just talking about how much they accomplished in terms of being like a fascist state. Japan was S tier on the batshit insane suicidal foreign policy tier list. What, you mean because they started a war with America? I mean, I don't know if that's the best strategy, but it was kind of inevitable considering they both wanted Pacific resources in the Pacific. Why is it called Hetalia when it's full of gays? The serious answer to that question is that because hetare is a Japanese word meaning to be like a loser or weak. There was a bunch of Tsarists that believed in the brief opening of Russia's commerce of the world if only such an initiative was motivated on the face of economic decline and social unrest. I kind of have a theory that countries, their national identity remains pretty consistent even when they go through broader political societal change. They still kind of remain the same. So Russians, even though they have like communism and a non-Tsarist state, they still desire to have a Tsar. Hence why, like, some people, old babushkas, just openly call Putin as their Tsar, which is pretty funny. So, like, China also just desires to have an emperor. It's comfortable for them. Russian bumpkins call Putin the Tsar, yeah. Countries just sort of go back to their own habits. They rarely change. Which is why the Chinese Communist Party is always terrified of them being murdered with a peasant revolt. China is always on the verge of a peasant revolt, so all their fears are justified. You say that, but military leadership at the time straight up knew that they would probably lose, and it actually worsened their position in China rather than improve it as intended. Japanese leadership had a lot of like internal conflicts, and there might have been a different situation in which they took smarter decisions, in which they didn't fight the wrong people, but I don't know. It seems kind of unlikely. I mean, invading China wasn't really that much of a problem in terms of their diplomacy with other countries, because every country was basically like, LMAO, let's invade China and rape and pillage our way through it and try and get as much resources as possible. I like how Western countries pretend like they didn't also invade China, like right before the Japanese invasion of China. Like, what happened to the Qing dynasty, guys? Oh, that's right. All the Western powers invaded China at the same time. Did you fucking forget that? Of course they forgot that. Fun fact about Russia, Putin is not a member of his party. Can anybody actually say what Putin's party is? I've never even heard the, whatever party he belongs to. Not that it matters, of course. Opium Clueless? Yeah. Well, it was like post-opium, right? Like, what was it, 5 or 6 countries invaded China at the same time? There's famous political cartoon of them all trying to carve up the cake. United Russia Party. I'm eager to play P4 Remake. 2035, let's go! Also, we won't get Persona 7 either. I'm so fucking sick of remakes, guys. We go from Hitler directly to me bitching about the video game industry, but for real, can we just stop with the remakes? Make a new game! Holy fuck! Don't make Star Wars number 12. Make something new. Make a new video game. Don't remake Persona 4. Don't remake Resident Evil 4 remake was good. Make something new. Is culture actually fucking over? Are you people completely so soulless that you can't make something new? Jesus Christ. As soon as you make something new, everyone's like, holy shit, it's new. All you need to do is make fucking Pokemon with guns and everyone creamed their pants. It wasn't even new, it was just like Ark Survival reskinned. People need to stop buying remakes, please. They'll keep making them otherwise. The member berries are too fucking strong. It's awful. Jesus Christ. It all began with RE2. I mean, the RE2 remake is pretty justified, right? That top-down gameplay where you can't even see the zombie you're shooting, that's very much deserving of a remake, and it was pretty fucking good remake, I must say. I was definitely in the camp that the RE4 remake was completely unnecessary, and in terms of RE4 still being a very playable, very good game, it is unnecessary. However, the RE4 remake was good enough that I'm gonna give it a pass. Persona 3 remake, definitely unnecessary. Like, come on, man. How hard is it to make one of these JRPGs? Just make Persona 7. Why the fuck is it like an 8-year delay between each Persona game? How fucking hard can it be? Like, am I wrong to say that Persona isn't doing anything that crazy once they already have the formula set up? Like, you guys don't need to fucking cook for 8 years like you're George R.R. Martin or something. Jesus Christ. You just need to have cute anime girls and then give people the option to date all of them at the same time. That's really the only thing people are asking for. No way is because they are waiting for the genius writers to make the story right? I don't fucking know. I don't know why it takes so much time. I don't even know what's going on at Atlas. The horrible part is, like, even Atlas is one of the better situations that we have. I wish there was, like, betting odds in Vegas for when Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out. Because then I would fucking bet against it, even if it was like the over-under was like 2040. I'd just be like, yeah. They keep changing the story and delaying production? Probably something like that. Metaphor RE Fantasio? Yeah, whatever, man. I didn't like Persona 5. I haven't even finished it. The characters just didn't really... They didn't really hit with me. So honestly, I don't care. I feel like it's more of a hit and miss endeavor, so I just want them to go at it again and make 7, and I might like it more or less. Despite all the complaints about Yakuza games having a lot of the similar elements between each one, you have to admit they actually fucking come out at a good fucking pace. Despite all the memeing we do about Sega, like Yakuza games are like, they're still coming out and they have a ton of content. It's not like they're shitting them out of nowhere. Remember when the ES6 trailer came out? That was 5 years ago. Surely that cannot be the case. Elder Scrolls 6. The Elder Scrolls 6 finally just got a huge update.
What's up, everybody? It's me alone. I hope you.
3,000 views.
So in today's video, there's a number of things that I want to cover. First of all, I do want to do a bit of a general summary and catch up in terms of how things for the Elder Scrolls 6 have progressed over the years, ever since it was announced all the way back in 2018.
I think it's funny that this guy actually thinks he's getting like an honest update by the developers on what the situation of the game is. That's pretty funny.
Bethesda Game Studios coming out and saying that they are currently playing early builds of the Elder Scrolls 6 right now, which is crazy to say out loud.
They're playing early builds.
As you're watching this video.
Holy copium. I'm sure they are, guys. The old rule, more world equals better game broke down. Yeah, Todd has no idea what to do. They made the test room pre-alpha, guys. Let's go! I don't know how anybody could be excited for Elder Scrolls 6 after playing Starfield, and I haven't even played Starfield. I mean, at the core, it just feels like time has left Elder Scrolls behind, right? It's like the novelty of being able to walk around and do shit in an RPG world has worn off, and they don't really know how to make like actual gameplay. And Todd thinks that reducing jank is equal to having actual gameplay, but it's really more of a negative than a positive because the jank was content in its own right. So yeah, I don't know. I think they're fucking screwed. I mean, how about like make a new engine? How about that? Has any engine been in active service longer than the Elder Scrolls engine? Is anyone making video games with Unreal Engine 2 or something? It's because the developers are also the writers and the lead dev sucks at storytelling. Starfield was the lead dev's first original story and couldn't use the previous better game's lore to support it. I mean, is that the problem though? Isn't the problem much more deeper than that? What was fun about Elder Scrolls, at least from my perspective, was it was a game where you got to walk around and have freedom and do shit in a a big fantasy world when there weren't any other games doing that. And now we're living in 2024 where not only are there a lot of games that do that in terms of open world shit, most people are kind of getting sick of open worlds because they see the limitations to it and they want a more tight gameplay experience or something that has like, I don't know, better thought out encounters and stuff like that, like Elden Ring that actually has dungeons or some shit like that. And now that the novelty is worn off, I don't think Todd can, adapt to the new world. Todd slowly ousted the main people behind Elder Scrolls. I mean, I'm sure that's part of the problem, but I think it's even deeper than that. Because it was always janky, right? And it was charming back in the day, but nobody feels like it's charming now. The amount of designers I worked with who wanted open world, even if it added absolutely nothing meaningful. It is interesting that Pal World is a really interesting comparison. Because, like, everything would suggest that Pal World would just be a massive disaster, right? It's an open world Pokemon jank game with crafting mechanics and gun mechanics and all sorts of silly shenanigans. And yet, everybody who plays Pal World is like, this actually kind of works. These are four great tastes that taste great together. It's a Rust clone. I mean, it also helps that all the other survival crafting clones have like a huge fan base, but also have like shit to bed in providing content and stuff like that. So, fun fact, Elder Scrolls originally came from a home tabletop RPG campaign. I don't like the Elder Scrolls art design, and I don't like the lore, and I don't like the story. So there's a lot of things I don't like about Elder Scrolls. I like the environmental design, some parts of it, and I like being able to walk around and mess around with janky shit, which is why I don't care that I can't play Starfield because I only have a PlayStation. Good artists are inspired, great artists steal. I mean, the stuff that Pal World does is in many cases better than the games it's copying, like Ark and stuff, right? Like it's more polished, even if it's an alpha. Didn't Ark have stuff where like you couldn't fucking tame dinosaurs unless you did like 20 hours of bullshit, or like it would wipe your save or some stuff like that? Ark data wipe or something. I don't know. It had like I thought there was like some serious issues with Ark and Rust and stuff. It can take several hours to tame a medium level dinosaur depending on the items you have. I still don't get the hype about Pokemon. It was extremely hype when it came out in 92 or whatever, if you were an elementary school kid. And then it's the ultimate cruising on nostalgia franchise. Riz up the Sphinx in Dogma 2, Sag. Don't care, Coomed. Pokemon adults are a subgenre of Nintendo adults. Yeah, a more seriously mentally disturbed subgenre. They're way worse than like Mario adults, that's for sure. They're one of the most dangerous breeds of neckbeards. Dangerously cringe. Everyone's Pokemon Gen is someone's first Pokemon Gen? Maybe. I'm not sure how many kids are playing Pokemon right now. I'm worried. Well, I'm not worried. I don't really care, but Nintendo should be worried that a huge percentage of their audience is, 40-year-old neckbeards like me living in their mother's basement. Although maybe they're not, considering those neckbeards are going to waste all their tendy money on Nintendo. Sonic adults have the highest power level? Maybe. Sonic has overlap with furry fandom as well, right? Because Sonic is like technically a furry, maybe. Some may say that furries are most powerful, but I think a lot of people think it's. I mean, Chris Chan is a Sonic fandom, right? So I think you could argue that it's that Sonics do have the highest power level. Who knows? There's so many cringe fan bases on the internet. It's hard to. I tried starting to make the cringe fan base tier list yesterday, and it seemed difficult because there were so many things that were cringe. Furries be loaded with cash dough. Yes, they are. Their parents are just like, take my money and go away and never speak to me again. So they have money at least. I keep seeing articles about Japanese children becoming gacha addicts. I wonder how many have become Coomers directly through Nikkei and Blue Archive. A lot. Also, you don't really need to have gacha games to become a gacha addict. Just the whole concept of gambling is enough to fuck people up. So it's pretty crazy that we've allowed this to happen to phone games. But if shit isn't restricted, then everything goes to the lowest common denominator. And the lowest common denominator in gaming is taking money from gambling addicts who can't control themselves. And they're like, it's just a little. I'm only using $300. Not a big deal. I mean, at least everyone in the Sonic fandom agreed that in Sonic 06 that kiss scene was cringe. Who kissed who? Did Amy finally get some? What is this Sonic kiss scene you are talking about? Sonic 06 kiss. Oh god, is he dead? It's a pure Japanese maiden.
Gems of miracles, please heed my call. I wish to save this world.
Is he fucking Jesus?
Cleanse my father's sin.
Holy shit.
And I wish to talk to Sonic once again. You have given me so many things.
Literally
Now
Jesus.
it's time to return the favor.
He died for our sins, guys.
To me. But please heed my voice. Sonic, come back. To me. To us.
Yuck. Ew. Gross. Not bad. Not bad.
Is she dead
Not
now?
bad. Yes. As in, just okay. Sal. I know it was a serious kiss. Right, big guy? Yuck.
Rouge the Bat there. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Jesus Christ. Live Knuckles reaction. Knuckles is just chilling in the back. I was 4 when this dropped. With the emeralds assembled, he rose again. Sonic was going to have a human girlfriend. Does Sonic have a girlfriend? I know that he's like avoiding Amy or something. All Sonic is cringe. Someone said that Sonic fandom was aware that shit was cringe, but I'm pretty sure Sonic fandom is not aware that they're cringe. I think that's the problem. Madonna was supposed to be Sonic's canon girlfriend back in the 90s. Peak 90s energy right there. He does have a girlfriend, it's not Amy. In the comics, he cucks Tails. Feels good, man. Tails was built to be cucked. No wonder Tails gets trolled, gets made right there. There are several games where Sonic is interacting with humanoid human women. He can't help himself. White females naturally are inclined to the blue hedgehog cock. They can't help. The TV show made it so a pantless squirrel named Sally was his romantic interest. Furries don't have to wear pants, guys. We all know this. Sonic Sally. She's literally completely nude. Sally Acorn. Does she have like a fucking energy blade or something? This is a rabbit hole that I really shouldn't go down. Oh, they gave her pants in this one. The Sonic fandom rabbit hole is so deep and dark that you shouldn't even go down it, even as a joke, to try and figure out the variations and stuff. The iceberg is too deep. You shouldn't go down there. Sonic's cock is hidden by his sheath. Made me Google hedgehog cock. Thank you. What was it like? Have you seen Ken Bender's comic stuff? This was the guy who claimed that he owned like everything related to Sonic, right? What a giga chad. He was just like, yeah, this video game franchise made by this Japanese video game company, now I own it. Ken Pender's endless hole of multiverses and actual unironic serious storylines. No, I'm not going to go look at Ken Pender's Sonic art. I already know too much. Sonic is like the ultimate I already know too much about this thing. There's a picture of him with no facial hair and he looks fucking scary. Actual ugly bastard, okay. Here you go, guys. I mean, he's like top tier ugly bastard, but also the stuff he's drawing. This is like his non-Sonic universe. This looks like it was produced by AI in its early stages when it would create nightmare abominations. Hot. He has a kid. It's kind of shocking that this guy can fucking reproduce, and yet I'm failing to. Darwinism is a lie. This also looks like it was made with AI, actually. The way the characters are kind of like, there's no spacing in between them, and they kind of blend together in a weird way. It gives me the same reaction I get when I stare at AI art for too long, and it starts to make me feel nauseous in a weird way. Like, I don't understand what's causing it, but it's because there's like a lack of, I don't know, a lack of spacing and like coloring and like strategic positioning of eye guidance in the image, where it starts to just make you feel weird. Ball doesn't try. Yeah, I really don't. Your child wouldn't survive because you would neglect it. I never said I would be the one raising it. What do you think the female is there for? They don't call her a trad wife for nothing. Wait. Oh god, it's actually called Lara Sue. I thought that people were... goddamn, I forgot that. Yeah, it's called the Lara Sue Chronicles. Here you go, guys. Meet the Kidnyas. Survival of the fittest is the order of the day. The Lara Sue Chronicles. True nightmare vision right here. How has his artwork actually declined over the years? It's actually like literally getting worse. This looks like something that like a 13-year-old painted. Spent 50 hours in his art class painting his OC Sonic Echidna's girl. Oh. Humanity is done for, guys. I think we've lost. Actually, AI should just take over and give us their abominations instead. It will save us from him. Here's another ugly bastard photo of him, by the way. Honestly, I should use him as a reference image when I draw ugly bastards. I'm often criticized for drawing ugly bastards, and people are like, no, your ugly bastards are too attractive. Your problem is you're drawing... their facial characteristics are too put together. That doesn't count as an ugly bastard. That smile... So here we see, it's not, he has the wide nose, the eyes are too far apart, and the thick lips with no beard really helps. He has a pedo stash, the infamous mustache that makes basically anyone look like a sexual criminal. But it was a good choice. He looks way better with a mustache. This is the guy who, in most cases, having a mustache is just like, it makes you look like you're a molester or something like that. But he definitely should have kept it. The one time the pedo stash helps, it really does. He should try and grow a full face beard, honestly. It will make him way more lookable. I can easily imagine him in a doujin. He's like, hey kids, want to read the Lara Sue Chronicles? Alright, guys. Now that we've made fun of Ken Penders, I think it's time to end the stream so I can finish my Mitsuru art and go jog and then get back to working on my comic. Oh, see you around, guys. Good night. Have a nice night.